And we are live once again, baby. Yeah. Good morning to everybody. I want to welcome you back to Planet Hog. And let me just take my obligatory sip of that Kentucky All. Yes, indeedy. Yes, indeedy. Man, I was yesterday trying to think about what I wanted to talk about today. Downstairs on the show, which is might be one of my favorite sports games of all time at this point. But I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about. Maybe wanted to talk about the stimulus breakdown. But I think everybody, all the kids in the room who've been paying attention, understand what's going on here with that. But maybe we come back to that at a different time. But anyway, I was scrolling my news feed and something popped up that intrigued me a little bit more than the stimulus stuff. Because I mean, it's stale. It's all stale at this point. I mean, I feel like most of the political, it's stale. I think people's minds are made up. People know which way they're going, and most of them probably have for a while. So I think we're all just waiting for November 4th, right? We're all waiting to see what happens. Or it might be longer, right? Because mail-in, so who knows? Maybe it'll be November 10th. I don't know. Well, anyway, so I was, like I said, scrolling through my phone, looking at some news things, and I saw an article that they were talking about the 2020 Rock-n-Roll Hall of Fame. And as fate would have it, I actually have my Let Me Kill Mr. shirt on right now as I'm recording this for good luck. For good luck. But no. Yeah. So I was like, okay, let's take a gander at this. And need another sip. Man. Why can't shit just be pure? Why does everything have to be cross-contaminated with some kind of political element? Why? Well, without further ado, let me read to you the 2020 Rock-n-Roll Hall of Fame inductees, right? And I'll just say that one of these kind of stands out. The other one definitely stands out. Okay, so we're starting with Irving Azoff. Okay, I may have pronounced that wrong. Might be Azoff. I have no idea who this guy is. I had to Google him, but it came up that he's affiliated with rock music. So I said, okay, fine, whatever. Depeche, I think I'm pronouncing this right. Depeche Mode. Okay, looking at their picture, definitely look like rockers, right? You look them up, rockers. The Doobie Brothers, heard of them? Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Sure, no big deal. Whitney Houston, interesting. Okay, probably not my first choice. Didn't know she made rock music. Enjoyed her music was catchy, right? Nothing comes to mind in terms of rock and roll, but she comes across as more poppy to me, maybe R&B, but interesting. John Landau. Here we go. Okay, then we got right back on it. Looked him up. Affiliated with rock and roll. Fine. 9 Inch Nails. Heard of them. Actually, never listened to them, but I've heard of them. And I know people that like them. So, okay. Makes sense. T-Rex, I had to look up. Right? T-Rex, I'd never heard of. Rock is such a broad and vast genre that that sounds like a word that Donald Trump invented. Genre. The only question is, do you do like the dual finger guns, or do you do like the hand accordion thing? Genre. So T-Rex I had to look up, but a rock band, right? Okay, cool. And like I said, rock is such a vast genre of music that it stands to reason that there's going to be people who make it that you've never heard of. especially me. I didn't really get into rock music until probably closer to my 20s, right about the time I went to college. Um, but okay, so it makes sense, right? And last but not least, I skipped over one because they're alphabetized. There is an inductee that is between Nine Inch Nails and T Rex, and that is, drum roll, the notorious B.I.G. Biggie. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Biggie is going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Because why not, right? Because because why the hell not? But then again, so this prompted me to look deeper into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I was like, okay, well, let's see. Let me just see, because I do remember when NWA got nominated, and I said, what the hell? And I was like, okay, well, that's kind of dumb. But whatever. I didn't really pay too much attention to it, so I dove in, right? And I'm looking at some of these inductees, and it's very interesting how they have kind of set up their little system here, because there's different reasons people can get in, right? There's influencers, there's performers. Okay, see, when you don't have a fixed standard, when you water down your standard, this is what happens, right? Then you can kind of technicality your way into shit. All right, fine. So I was looking at some of the names, and some of them that I found a little more questionable. They had a lot of the older blues musicians, right? They had I saw Louis Armstrong, I saw Ray Charles, I saw Billie Holiday. That's tough. That's tough for me. I look. I respect all of those musicians. I just I would like that explained to me how they're rock and roll. I mean, of the three that I named, Ray Charles is probably the closest one, right? Because he had some upbeat stuff. But I mean, most of them went in because of the early influencer technicality, qualifier, I should say. Stop being facetious and honor these people. So they went in for the early influencer, which, okay, you could make that argument because rock and roll wasn't an actual thing at that time. So fair, fine. But then there were some people that I said, no, because rock and roll was a thing, and they performed in a different genre. So I don't understand how you perform in a different genre. Musically, you're in a completely different league, but you make it to this league's Hall of Fame. Okay, so, and I'm talking more like Marvin Gaye, Isaac Hayes, soon to be Whitney Houston, and the Isleys was another one that popped off the page. And I'm like, the Isleys, okay, so if we're gonna do this, then let's just drop the rock and roll. Let's just call it the American Music Hall of Fame. Let's just drop all genres and just put everybody in it. But they won't do that because it defeats the purpose of having a rock and roll Hall of Fame, right? Because when you want to go and canonize and reminisce on the all-time rock and roll bands, musicians, that's what you want. You don't want to have to sort through the rest. And again, create an R&B Hall of Fame, please. Create a rap Hall of Fame, please. But it's a very weird stance to take on this, right? I feel oddly racist taking this stance. This must be what it feels like for racists when their children comes home with a person that they're dating that's not of the same race. I don't know. Because I was looking at this damn list and I was like, notorious B.I.G. Why can't you just go be with rappers? Anyway, so all jokes aside, I was flipping through this thing and I was getting more and more nauseous. And I was like, why is this? This is just an oddly familiar feeling of irritation. And then I remembered, oh yeah, The NBA Hall of Fame. Speaking of people from a different league making it into another league's Hall of Fame. So, for those of you who don't know, the NBA Hall of Fame has taken it upon itself to bring in female basketball players. Right. So, I was looking at the NBA's Hall of Fame just for shits and giggles. I mean, I obviously don't watch the NBA now, but the people who are being inducted are the people who were playing when I was really into the NBA. So let's go over to their page now, and I will look and read to you the the NBA Hall of Fame inductees. Let's see here. Let's go back and let's go to the class of 2020. Wait, where is it? This is not a very user-friendly. What the devil is this? Hall of Fame. All right, let's just cut through this BS real quick. Pardon me, I'm going to type Hall of Fame 2020. Bang. There it is. And voila. So here you go, right? 9 people. 12, including, these 3 here. So, in this class, we have... Oh, no, it is 9. Sorry. It is 9. That was confusingly worded. So, number 1, you have Kobe Bryant. First and foremost, right? Top first. And that makes sense. Not only because of obviously the tragedy makes it, the timing. There's drama and story to be had with the timing, which is kind of annoying. But let me adjust myself here. But Kobe Bryant. I don't think anybody's gonna fight that. I don't think anybody's gonna contest that. Even the Kobe haters out there. Now, Kobe was one of my favorite players. So, when I grew up, I was never a fan of Michael Jordan. I couldn't stand him. I always rooted against him. Enjoyed watching him play, respected the hell out of him, but I just rooted against him because, they always won. So, Kobe Bryant was my guy. Obviously very tragic with how abruptly his life was ended. Number 2, Tim Duncan. Oh my God. Okay, so I hated Tim Duncan. I hated this man. Mainly because, again, I was a Kobe Bryant fan / Lakers fan at that time, and their chief rival during Kobe's heyday were the San Antonio Spurs. So, naturally, I could not stand Tim Duncan. Again, for a lot of the same reasons that I dislike Michael Jordan, because he was undoubtedly the best in his position at that time. And but again, it was a dislike born out of rivalry, right? Okay, so our next inductee is Kevin Garnett, of course, right? Of course, Kevin Garnett was a beast for a very long time, and he looks like DMX, so why not, right? Our next inductee, Tamika Catchings, and I instantly got a headache when I saw this. I almost punched this computer. First of all, I don't even know who this broad is. Who, obviously, she's probably WNBA, right? But I have no idea who this person is. And I'm sorry, for sports Hall of Fames, people who are generally familiar with the sport, for any Hall of Fame, people generally familiar with said Hall of Fame should probably know who the person is that's going in, right? Or they should have at least heard of them. Tamika Catchings. Okay. We have career accomplishments here. 2012 WNBA champion, WNBA Finals MVP, 2011 MVP, 10-time All-Star, 5-time Defensive Player of the Year, 7-time Steals champion, 4-time Olympic gold medalist, 2-time World Champion, 1998 NCAA champion. Look, That's a very impressive WNBA resume. I would not contest that at all. I do not contest that for a WNBA player, she had a great career. But again, so you're going to go in with Tim Duncan. So Tamika Catchings is going in with Kobe Bryant. So Tamika Catchings is going in with Kevin Garnett. This is so annoying. It really is so. So next is Rudy Tomjanovich, a player and a coach, a guy who contributed a lot to the game. Eddie Sutton, another, and here we go, Kim Mullarkey. Who the hell is Kim Mullarkey? Well, Mulkey. Kim Mulkey. She is a Baylor women's basketball coach. So this isn't even affiliated. That's the beauty about this, right? So it's like that old saying, you give somebody an inch, they take a mile. So not only are we just going to open it up for WNBA, because obviously the reason why that league is unsuccessful is because of sexism, right? It's not because all of the highlights that you could ever see at a WNBA game just so happens you could also see at a high school JV men's basketball game. Yeah, we get it. Full court layups, textbook chest passes, and a lot of good shooting. We get it. Not going to sell a lot of tickets though, because what's the word for it? Boring. There it is. Not entertaining. So, but not only are we going to open the door for WNBA players, but now we're going to open the door for women's college basketball. Men's college basketball. Do we have any men's college basketball inductees? I would be surprised. So now we're umbrellaing. Now they're coming into. That's fine. We'll just keep watering this thing down. So when people talk about the NBA Hall of Fame, excuse me, I almost said WNBA Hall of Fame. How stupid of me. When people talk about the NBA Hall of Fame and they talk about the NBA greats, we talk about Shaq, we talk about MJ, we talk about Charles Barkley, we talk about Magic Johnson, we talk about Wilt Chamberlain, Larry Bird, we talk about hopefully Kobe Bryant, we talk about Kevin Garnett, and we also talk about Tamika Catchings and Kim Mulkey. I mean, if you were having a conversation with your boys, you're talking about the best basketball players of all time, and somebody said, Tamika Catchings. That's exactly what it would sound like after they said it. Yeah, okay. Tamika Catchings. So we got Kim Mulkey, a women's college basketball coach, which there's, again, not ragging on the women playing the sport, ragging on the sport itself. Because let's not act like there's no parity. There's no parity in women's basketball. None. Zero. That's why you had the same teams winning over and over and over and over and over again. People say, oh, yeah, well, Duke had a little dynasty. Yeah, they did. But you know what? There were years they didn't win it, number one. And they didn't win it for like 15 years straight, number two. Tennessee? I wonder how many times Tennessee women's basketball team won the championship. And when it wasn't them, it was UConn. Right? UConn had a nice little run. So, because, that was back when, the basketball players, at least some of the female basketball players, attempted to look feminine. So there was something to cling on to. I mean, there's a reason why women's volleyball, beach volleyball, does better than the WNBA. Play to your strengths, right? It's a theory that they teach you in basketball, as a matter of fact. If you're not a good three-point shooter, but you're big and you can post up, guess where you should play? Under the basket. If you're short, but you got nice handles and you can pass the ball, you can see the court well, we're not going to put you at center. So we can apply it in the game, but we can't apply that about the game. Got it. Okay, moving along in this NBA Hall of Fame, this induction class of 2020. Barbara Stevens, we got another one. Okay, what do we have here? Listen to this woman's record. And this is a phenomenal record. Her career record is 1,058 and 291. 1,058 and 291. If that alone does not make the point that there's no parity in these sports, and just for S's and G's, what is this? Get this away from me. All right, I have to sign up to use the goddamn calculator app. I'll just punch it into Bing. We'll do some quick math. Unless you guys can figure that math out on top of your head, over the top of your head, that's fine. If you can, that's amazing. I am not capable of that. So let's punch this in because I am very curious. Calculator. Thank you. Okay, her record is 1,058 and 2,091. Okay, 1,058. Okay, I have to click it in. That's inconvenient. 291. Why is this not working? Why is this not working? 2, right. I despise technology. All right. Well, maybe I'll just have to get a functioning calculator because this is not working. This woman is 1,000. Yeah. All right. Screw it. Screw it. Do the math yourself. This woman is 1,058 and 291. That is an outstanding record. It truly is. It truly is. Unfortunately, that also speaks to the point that there's no parity in these leagues, right? Because how could somebody do that over 43 seasons? Now, granted, 43 seasons is also a very, very long time. Very, very long time. But also not in the NBA or the WNBA. Now, what do we have here? Patrick Bowman is the last person, and he is the Secretary General of the FIB. I'm not sure what the FIB is. Let me take a look at that. FIBA. Excuse me, it's FIBA. International. Okay, well, that's confusing. The FIBA is the International Basketball Federation. I'm not bullshitting you. It is also the Florida-Israel Business Accelerator. I don't think we need that. Okay, so he's the secretary for... He's basically an ambassador for basketball. All right. I mean, you can't say no at this point, right? So... And believe me, this year is not a one-off, right? Because let's go back to some of these other years of Hall of Fame inductees. Hall of Fame. Class of 2019. Bobby Jones, Vlade Divac, just reading a couple, not all. Sidney Moncrief, Teresa Witherspoon. Let's go to 2018. Ray Allen, Maurice Cheeks, Grant Hill, Jason Kidd, Tina Thompson, Steve Nash. Jesus. Let's go to 2017. Tracy McGrady, Bill Self, Rebecca Lobo. But I think you get the point. Like let's go to 2016. Allen Iverson, Tom Izzo, Yao Ming. You could make an argument about Yao Ming. You could definitely make an argument about Yao Ming. You could make the argument that was the WNBA sowing the seeds of its business partnership with China. So anyway, Allen Iverson, Yao Ming, Tom Izzo, Shaquille O'Neal, Cheryl Swoops. This is like a child's which one of these is not like the other game. Okay. Let's go for the hell of it. Let's go to 2000 and, I don't know, we're in 2020. Let's go to 2010. The 1960 USA Men's Olympic Team. The 1992 USA Men's Olympic Team. Jerry Buss. Karl Malone. Scottie Pippen. Cynthia Cooper. Cynthia Cooper Dyke. That's her last name. That is her last name. Of course it's hyphenated. So you get the point. Right? How about 2009? the most disrespectful one that I've seen so far. Michael Jordan, might have heard of him. David Robinson, Jerry Sloan, John Stockton, C. Vivian Stringer. Who the hell is C. Vivian Stringer? Let's look this person up. Vivian Stringer. There we are. C. Vivian Stringer. Ah, coach of Rutgers women's basketball. Of course that person would go in with Michael Jordan. Why wouldn't they? That makes perfect sense. They've both contributed the exact amount to the game of basketball. Okay, so you get the point about basketball. You get the point about rock and roll. My point of bringing this up is it's not going to stop with them, right? Baseball has been able to stave this off, this madness off for now. The NFL has, but don't you hold your breath, because the NFL will absolutely induct the first female referee, the first female head coach, the first female owner of a team. They're all going into Hall of Fame. Of course they are. Of course they are, because it's not about what the people have accomplished anymore. It really isn't. And it's really sad. You know, it's kind of like people have forgotten that no is a word. Like, when it's not these people's fault that they're getting nominated, it's the people who vote's fault for not saying no, for not saying no, nah, some variation of that, right? It's it's why do we have this problem with saying no to things that don't belong, to things that, why have we all of a sudden grown to hate the idea of meritocracy, of earning everything you get? Why do we hate that all of a sudden? Why is, like, this is the age of where rhetoric has finally triumphed over realism, right? Where the story that the sports writer and the story that the blogger can write and the story that ESPN can weave and tell is more important than the story that the player actually told with their career. You know, it's basically like, okay, let's take the symbolism of these statues being torn down by protesters. Yes, that's what's happening. Except that statue of Abe Lincoln is the idea of greatness. And in place, we're just going to fully install mediocrity for everybody. Everybody's an all-star. That means nobody's an all-star. I mean, for those of you who have had a Madden franchise that has gone at least 15 years, and everybody in free agency is a 99, well, who's the star? So, I don't know, man. That really, really, really bothered me. That it's just infecting everything. It really is just spreading to everything. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's not rock and roll people anymore. NBA. Keep saying WNBA Hall of Fame. Might as well be. The NBA Hall of Fame is not NBA players exclusively, right? NFL. That'll be next. Mark my words. That will be next. MLB will be able to stave it off because they don't really have a female equivalent to professional baseball. I mean, I'm sure there are women's softball leagues, don't get me wrong, but who watches them? So, which for my money, I would much rather watch women's softball than women's basketball. Absolutely would. Why? Because they adjust the rules to make it more competitive. If the WNBA lowered their goals, maybe hiked up their shorts a little bit more, and let their hair down, people would probably watch. Sexist? No. Realistic? Yes. Anyway, man. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? The only good thing that I saw is that the Beastie Boys are also in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So for all my friends out there that keep trying to call them rap, it's over. It's over. But then again, I can't make that argument because that means Biggie's not rap. Oh, you know what? I'll take it. I will take it. Anyway, man, that's what I got for y'all today. And of course, if you disagree with me, please let me hear your counter argument. Just don't tell me I'm stupid. Tell me why I'm stupid. All right. So until tomorrow, man, I'm checking on up out of here. I hope you have enjoyed your visit to Planet Hog today. But for now, I must depart. Peace.